Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99 podcast, where we've got 99 cards, because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I'm joined today with Slothy. Slothy, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, thanks. How about yourself?
I am doing great. I got a bunch of brand new toys to play with, so we should have a lot of really cool new content coming out. I've been telling you a little bit about kind of what we've been doing, how we've been going about it. So yeah, if my audio seems a little off, I'm just testing a new microphone this episode. You guys are going to have to just live with it. Other than that, things have been going really, really good. I've been really, really busy, but like I said, the amount of new product we've got to fool around with, we've got some great new content coming.
Yeah, I'm quite excited for a lot of the new stuff that's going to be coming up soon.
Yeah, we've been discussing some cool new plans. So yeah, we'll be definitely previewing a bit of that stuff over on like the Into the 99 page. If you want to check it out when it gets up and running, that'll be the place to do it. Other than that, no, it's just been a really good week. Really, really busy. Got to play some games. Got to do lots of fun stuff. So it was nice. Saw a movie. I haven't been to a movie in ages.
Yeah, you were telling me, and you were saying the theater was dead.
Yeah, we the one we ended up going to, their ATM system was down, like their debit system. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
And there was no ATM anywhere even close to this theater, so they had only 31 people for the whole day.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah, it was very, very dead. So we got to see a theater to ourselves. We got like a whole theater to ourselves, see a movie by ourselves. I was very loud and obnoxious the whole movie, just talking, having a great time, laughing. It was a really, really fun time.
Thanks. What movie did you end up seeing?
We saw The Invitation, and it was not great.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was not the most wonderful of all movies I could have seen, but it is what it is. I love the vampire like kind of movies and stuff. Like I loved all of like the Dracula and everything before. That's why I like the Innistrad stuff so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely something. The ending was not great. But no, it was fun. Like I said, I haven't been out to a movie in ages, so yeah. But anyways, we're not here to talk about movies. We were going to do a second episode last week, and I just was not feeling good. I got sick. Been really, really run down lately. Just sick. Like, had a bad allergic reaction like a week or two ago, and I just haven't bounced back from it. So we didn't end up recording this, but we've talked about it. So here we are without further ado. Tell them what this week's deck is.
Would love to. So this week's deck is Soul of Windgrace. It's a deck that I think as soon as the card was spoiled, I messaged Dan and said, I'm building this.
Yep.
And so it's 1 black, red, green for a 5/4 legendary cat avatar. Whenever Soul of Windgrace enters the battlefield or attacks, you may put a land card from a graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control, which in and of itself is awesome because it's not just your graveyard. You can get everybody else's fetch lands or anything like that. You pay green, discard a land card and gain 3 life. You can pay 1 in a red, discard a land card and draw a card. Or you can pay 2 in a black, discard a land card, and Soul of Windgrace gains indestructible until end of turn and tap it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, this is a very, very good commander.
It does a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that changed this card's like assessment for me was the from a graveyard, not only your graveyard.
Yeah, I think you mentioned on it was either the last episode or the part 1 of the set review that you thought it was from your graveyard.
Yeah, and from your graveyard is still good. Like it's still a great commander option that way. But from a graveyard is nuts.
Absolutely. So with this one, I decided to go land destruction. A little bit of land destruction.
Yeah.
But do we want to jump into? I'd like to talk about some of the lands first, if that's all right.
Yeah, for sure. We generally get to skip a lot of the lands, so it's fun to actually have some matter.
Yeah. So there's 33 lands in the deck. Blood Crypt, Bloodstained Mire. That's a fetch land you can recur. Dakmor Salvage.
Great, yeah, for something like this.
Yeah. Dark Depths, which is kind of a little bit of a pet card for me. Really good mana sink in a deck like this. Field of the Dead, obviously. Fireleaf Thicket.
Field of the Dead really quickly before we breeze over that one. A lot of the times it is kind of hard to hit that like 7 different land types, especially the less colors you're in, right? When you've got 3, you can hit it. But when you have the ability to play from your grave and other people's graves and blow up their lands and stuff, Field of the Dead can come online so quickly.
Absolutely. It just gets out of hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we got 7 forests. We got a Graven Cairns, just for some fixing. 5 mountains, an overgrown tomb, stomping ground, a strip mine, which is mean in a deck like this.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
7 swamps, a twilight mire, verdant catacombs, wooded foothills, and Zayator's proving ground.
That's actually a solid, like, obviously it's solid in general. I really like those fetches, but the fact that you can still take advantage of the cycling so easy and still get it into play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if it's in your hand, like, and you've got nothing, it's easy to cycle out and be like, I'll just play that for the turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like your land section. I would have gone way more blow lands up, but then I'd have no land colors.
Exactly.
It's the problem. It's the great conundrum.
Should we move over into artifacts first?
Sure. We start this list off as you should with any deck, 2 or more colors, Arcane Signet. It's just such a good card for what it does. 2 mana, you tap to add 1 mana of your commander's color identity. Can't go wrong with it.
No, not at all. Then we've got Bootlegger Stash. 5 and a green. Lands you control have tapped to create a treasure token.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah, it's going to keep, when you're blowing up everybody's lands, a lot of times that does include yours, so being able to get mana value anyway will just kind of put you ahead.
Yeah, stockpiling treasures is going to matter a lot in this deck. You've got Crucible at Worlds too, which is one of my favorite arts in Magic. It's just such a cool looking card. 3 mana artifact, you can play lands from your graveyard. And this is one of the better reprints I've seen in a long time. Like, this card was really up there in price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It reminds me of the artwork just entirely reminds me of like the 1980s Transformer movie, the cartoon with like Unicron.
Oh, yeah.
Big planet eating. You might be too young for this, but
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, that Transformer movie is wonderful.
Yeah. Then we got Lotus Petal. 0 mana, tap, sacrifice it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
Yep. Soul Ring, obviously. 1 mana, double, taps for 2 mana.
Yeah. We got Wishclaw Talisman, 1 and a black, enters the battlefield with 3 wish counters on it. You can pay 1 and tap it to remove a wish counter from the talisman, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. And then an opponent gains control of Wishclaw Talisman. Activate this ability only during your turn.
I always love this card.
Yeah, I really like this one.
I've always thought this was like a nice, fairer tutor, and it's really good. Mm-hmm. It really gets you a lot more politicsing with the table. A lot of times you can say like, hey, like I'll give it to you if you give it back to me. You can get 3 tutors out of basically like 5 mana that way, or 4 mana.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Really cool in a proliferate deck.
Yeah. I think I've seen it in some Atraxa decks.
Yeah, where you can just keep putting it up. I like Wishclaw Talisman. I think it's really, really solid. And then in a deck where you can constantly get your lands from your graveyard, Zuran Orb is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you 0 mana. You sacrifice a land, you gain 2 life. It's a 25-cent card. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's 25 cents. Just had a reprint last. Modern Horizons 2 was last year.
Yeah, it's extremely easy to find.
Yeah. But that's our artifact section. We jump into the enchantments real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's hit enchantments.
So first off, we've got Destructive Flow, black, red, green. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-basic land.
That's brutal.
Yep.
It's because you can say like you're just getting rid of the good lands. Like I'm not touching your basics. Oh wow, that's rough. That's even the flavor text is rough. Stage 2 of the Phyrexian Invasion included the complete alteration of Dominaria's landscape. That's a rough card. That's a funny enchantment to hit the table.
Yep.
I actually haven't seen that one ever hit the table.
Oh no.
No, I play with nicer people than I thought. Apparently, jeez.
Well, if you've got the next one on the field as well, it's going to make it even.
I have seen this one hit the table a lot. It's Price of Glory. 2 and a red. Whenever a player taps a land for mana during another player's turn, destroy that land. That's rough.
Yep.
Oh, but also very nice that you can, with your Bootlegger Stash, because you're not tapping it for land.
Mm-hmm.
You're not tapping it for mana. You're tapping it to make treasure tokens. So you're not really getting wrecked if you have the untapped stuff where everyone else is. I hate this card. It's locked me down a lot of games.
Next up, we've got Revel in Riches. Payoff for the treasure tokens you're going to be making in this deck. 4 and a black. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a treasure token. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game.
It's an awesome card.
It's very easy to just on somebody's end step, because you're going to be getting a lot of lands into play with this deck. Just tapping out, creating 10 treasures, and just winning.
The fun thing too is that like this is such a cool win con, and you don't ever see it really used as a win con. But I love it as an alternate win con. It's such a cool card.
Yeah, I quite like this.
Yeah. You also have Tectonic Reformation. It's 1 and a red. Each land in your card has cycling for 1 red, and then it has cycling for 2. That's going to be great because just being able to pay a red to throw your lands away, you're going to probably want to play a lot of my lands, especially if you have something like a destructive flowout, right?
Yep.
In a lot of games, like I'm going to fetch like I play like a lot of higher power, right? So like I go and fetch lots of Bazaars, lots of Gaia's Cradle, stuff like that. So yeah, being able to just throw your lands away and take mine are rough. It's rough. I don't like it.
Yeah. And with Tectonic Reformation itself, it discounts Soul of Windgrace's second ability. Because you're just throwing the land away, and then you're drawing a card for instead of for a red instead of 1 and a red.
Yeah, that's real good. Didn't even think about that. Yeah, so then Soul of Windgrace basically turns into pay a green, gain 3 life, pay a red, draw a card if you throw a land out. And then also the fact playing other people's lands is going to be so important because of that. He's going to be so hard to remove.
Yep.
That's, like instant speed doesn't need to be tapped, gains indestructible. Windgrace is a problem.
And the final enchantment we've got is Underworld Breach, 1 and a red. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana value plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. And at the beginning of your end step, sack Underworld Breach.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in this deck is going to want to be removed. So being able to get that back is going to help a lot.
True.
That's our...
each non-land card, exile 3 other cards. So you can still just throw your lands away.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can get a bunch of lands into your graveyard, then just pitch them if you don't need them.
Yeah. Let's hit your sorceries next. I like the look of this list.
Yeah.
So the first we have is Boom and Bust. Boom is 1/2 of the card of the sorcery. 1 and a red, destroy target land you control and land you don't control. That's great. I think that's a fair way to do it, and it's very funny. Bust, however, is even funnier. It's 5 and a red, and it's destroy all lands.
See, yeah, I think it's fair because it's all lands. You know, I don't have mana either.
Yeah, like Bust is gonna be especially being able to get your lands back on enter or attack. Ugh, that's gross. I really like that.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Decimate, 2 red and a green. Destroy target artifact, target creature, target enchantment, and target land.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, the next one's wild. We have Decree of Annihilation. 8 colorless, 2 red. Exile all artifacts, creatures, and lands from the battlefield, all cards from all graveyards, and all cards from hands. Or it has cycling, and that's 5 colorless, 2 red. And when you cycle it, you destroy all lands. To be honest, both of those are pretty good.
Yeah, I find that you're going to probably want to be cycling this more often than not because you want lands in the graveyard.
Yeah.
But still in a pinch.
Well, it's a 7 mana, basically win in Windgrace. Like, especially if somebody is just board wiped and people are wiped out.
Yeah.
That's good.
There's going to be nothing to stop you.
And it doesn't, it only destroys them that way. It is a good emergency trigger pull, though, if somebody's, like, stacked everything out.
Yep.
You're going to get around all protection, all hands. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
You don't see Decree of Annihilation enough at tables. I know that's probably not a popular opinion, but it's a cool card.
You see it once, that's too much.
A 10 mana card should have impact.
Yeah, agreed.
Right?
Yeah. Next up, we got Gaia's Blessing, 1 and a green. Target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from their graveyard into their library. Draw a card, and when it's put into your graveyard from your library, shuffle your graveyard into your library.
Yeah, pretty good. You have Grim Tutor as well, 1 double black. You search your library for a card, put it on into your hand, then shuffle, you lose 3 life. That's a great payoff.
Yeah. This next one is probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's Jared's Orders, or Jared's Orders. I never knew how he pronounces it. But 2 black and a green, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, reveal them, put 1 into your hand, the other into your graveyard, and then shuffle them.
Yeah, I've got no problem with something like that.
Yeah.
Life from the Loam is a pet card of mine, because I love landfall. I say that once an episode.
Yep.
Life from the Loam is 1 in the green. You return up to 3 land cards from your graveyard to your hand, and it has Dredge 3. So if you would draw a card instead, you can mill 3, but it's not mill. It's put 3, but it's mill. And then if you do, you return it from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah.
So it's really good at like filling your graveyard with cards, and if you're playing lands from the grave. How many lands do you have in this, by the way? 33.
33.
This is the one deck you put less lands in? You're crazy.
Well, usually they're about 32.
That's true.
But then again, this isn't a landfall deck.
That's true. I like the next one too a lot.
Why don't you take it?
Restore. So it's 1 in a green. You put target land from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Again, a great way to get people's good lands.
Yeah. Next one, it's a card that I find I'm putting in decks more and more. Scape Shift. 2 double green. Sacrifice any number of lands. Search your library for up to that many land cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library.
Scape Shift's so good.
Mm-hmm. I love that card.
Yeah, Scape Shift is so good. Scape Shift. We also have Splendid Reclamation, another great card for a deck like this where you're throwing things into your grave so much. 3 in a green, you return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't complain about that. Oh,
nope.
Wow, the next one.
The next one is Tectonic Break, X double red. Each player sacrifices X lands.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's a pretty bad one. That's pretty rough, yeah. We also have Torment of Hailfire, X, double black. Repeat the following process 3 times. Each opponent loses 3 life, unless they sack a non-land permanent or discard a card.
Repeat the process X times.
X times, yeah, sorry. I really like this card. Generally speaking, what I'll throw out, if I have like 20 cards in hand, as I often do, I usually throw my lands out first. I'm like, I don't need 20 lands in my hand, and that's exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's rough.
Yeah. This card in this deck, that's another win con in this deck. Just make people get rid of everything until they just have to start paying life.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, let's move on over to the instance. First one is Abrupt Decay, black and a green. The spell can't be countered, and destroy target non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less.
Yeah, I love that card.
Yeah.
More and more, it's hitting a lot of commanders too.
Yep. Because everything is getting a lot faster, and there's a lot lower mana curve, I find.
Right. Yeah, so it's hitting more and more, but a lot of just the can't be countered. That hits a lot in Magic. A lot of decks have like an average 3 CMC lately.
Yeah.
You also have Assassin's Trophy, one of the greatest pieces of removal ever printed, I think.
Yep.
1 black, 1 green. You destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for basic land, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. That's awesome. Like the fact that you can trade my commander for a basic.
Yeah. This has been one of my favorite cards since Guilds was released.
Swords to Plowshare is kind of the same thing, but like much weaker, I think. Like it's 1 mana, it's in white, so it can slot into more decks, but it can only hit a creature where this can hit whatever's problematic. A lot of times I see something like this hit like a Mana Reflection or a Doubling Q when I've got stuff like that out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a rough trade-off, and we generally don't like look at the trades that much in like a black and a green.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more like the next card is my threat assessment of he can remove something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The next one's Beast Within. 2 in a green, destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast.
Yeah.
I don't know, getting rid of your like you were saying, doubling cube and giving you a 3/3. That seems like a pretty fair trade to me.
Well, again, a lot of times, like say I'm playing an elf deck. I have a Gaia's Cradle out. I now have a 3/3 green beast, and you'll have a Gaia's Cradle out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty rough for me.
I like the sound of that, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to play your cradles or your tabernacles.
This deck is basically like Blood Moon the deck. I love it. You've got Crop Rotation. It's 1 green. As an additional cast, you sack a land. You search your library for a land, put it on the battlefield, then you shuffle. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, put a land back into your second hand and then put a land on the battlefield. We've got Dark Ritual, single black, tap to add 3 black to your mana pool.
Yeah, just good ramp.
Yeah.
Deflecting Swat, another way to save our commander, which is great. Or there's lots of cool things that you can do with Deflecting Swat. It's 2 in a red. If you control your commander, you can cast it without paying its mana cost, and you can choose new targets for target spell or ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, deflecting SWAT can really hose the table.
We say it every time this cycle's brought up, but we really need a reprint for these.
Desperately.
Like deflecting SWAT, it's pretty much if you didn't buy the precons at the time, you're going to have a hard time finding it.
Well, and the cards are basically as expensive as the precons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think deflecting SWAT's one of the cheaper ones, and what's it sitting at right now? $54.
Yeah, $54.99.
Yeah, I think the cheapest one is the Fog one or the Indestructible one, but
I think the cheapest one was the Exile one.
Really? Otrimi's Relic. I think that's a way stronger card. The free Exile is very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, every one of them is a great cycle. I actually think that they should expand it, but with maybe not as powerful abilities.
Yeah. Actually, I've got the box that I used the box that I got the precons in for that set for my LGS. Yeah. And on the box right now it says $200. But looking at all of these free spells, those all equal over $200.
Yeah, I think, like, to interrupt this episode's flow here, I think a really nice cycle could be like the green. You could give me something like a ramp card. Let me go get like a cultivate, but like for free if I control my commander. That'd be very playable. People would really like it.
It would still be powerful too.
Yeah, black could be like something like a victimize, where like you let me sack a creature, bring something back for free.
Yeah.
Red could have a Chaos Warp effect. Great ability for red. What are we missing? Blue and green, or blue and white.
Blue could be card draw of some sort. Maybe return something to their owner's hand.
A bounce or a card draw, like even a 1 or 2 card draw as a free cast controlling your commander. I could see that being very, very playable, especially in a pinch.
Yeah.
It would change threat assessment up, because I'd see that you have nothing. All of a sudden you free cast to draw 2, like even a free brainstorm, draw 3, put 1 down would be a very playable card.
Then what would white be?
Probably your opponents gain 10 life, you draw no cards. The way that they design cards.
If you control your commander, 17 treasures have cast a cultivate this turn, you can draw 1 card.
To be honest, white, if they were to give white I know they keep trying to fix it, but if they, in a widely available set, not in a commander deck, in a widely available set, just made something that was like, if you control your commander, get 2 planes, that would be very helpful to white.
Yeah. Yeah, search your library for 2 planes cards.
Yeah, if not, then it could be like a 4 mana search 2 planes. 4 mana is like achievable in white, so you could still ramp up. I don't know how we would do white.
Man, we should just go work for Wizards.
If you control your commander, destroy all lands.
I like that.
I would like that one too. But yeah, no, it's I like that one. Also, back into your list now. I love the next one. It's Harrow.
Yeah.
We've got 2 and a green. You sack a land, search a library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, put them into play, and then shuffle. They don't come in tapped, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It matters a lot sometimes that they don't enter tapped.
Yeah. Then we've got Nature's Claim. 1 green, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Its controller gains 4 life.
That's such an easy option. Like, it's such an easy trade on commander. Life doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah. Someone having 4 more life is not going to change the game for you.
No, very, very unlikely.
Yeah, and one mana removal is good. It's real good.
Mm-hmm.
We also have Noxious Revival. It's 1 Phyrexian green, so you can pay a green or 2 life. Put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library. The fact that you can just get some of your annoying land destroy things back is so funny.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Then, because I love having interaction, we've got Pyroblast. Single red, choose 1, counter target spell if it's blue, or destroy target permanent if it's blue.
Yeah, very relevant at a lot of tables.
Yep.
Ooh, the next one. Rain of Filth. 1 black mana for an instant. Each land you control gains sack it to add 1 black until end of turn. You said earlier that you have the ability to get a win con off pretty easily with Torment of Hailfire.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
See, that's pretty good there, but that's not even what I was talking about with that.
That's just pretty good. Rain of Filth is really strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, even if you could Rain of Filth all your lands and then
Splendid
Reclamation.
Yeah, bring them all back.
and then just sack him again.
Yeah. Rain of Filth is a great card that you don't really see too much. I want to take
Yeah.
this next one too because, especially in like a deck like Muldroth and a deck like this is essentially just like an incomparably good tutor. It's Realms Uncharted. It's 2 and a green. You search your library for 4 lands with different names. Reveal them. An opponent chooses 2. Put the chosen into the graveyard and the rest into your hand. Then shuffle. 4 mana for like 4 different lands that you're going to be able to play at 3 mana it's amazingly powerful in a deck like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that's a really, really strong ability. A lot of the time you're going to be able to just go fetch things that are going to change the game. If you're playing like a Dark Depths route, that's Dark Depths Vesuva. There's no way to really interrupt it because I'll just play the land you throw away from the grave that I want anyways.
Exactly. Like, yeah, you can send my strip mine to the graveyard. I'm just going to get it back anyways.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to come to the field.
And then next turn, after I've sacrificed it, I'm going to bring it back and destroy another one of your lands.
Yeah, Realms Uncharted is just a phenomenal card.
Mm.
I also like just double checking Windgrace's ability. Yeah, so it's not even interfering with your ability to play lands for the turn. It's not you may play one from the grave when it attacks. It just brings it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I would have put an Amulet of Vigor in here so I can just annoyingly get my things with Windgrace back, but that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not you're not in a rush. They have no lands to do anything with anyways.
Exactly. The game is when it gets to that point, the game's really yours to lose.
Yeah, Windgrace is just a cat playing with his food if it gets going.
Yeah. Then we've got Red Elemental Blast, another single red for counter target blue spell or destroy target blue permanent.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The next one I actually have not seen played in Magic before, and I really like the artwork. It's super cool.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy the art for this one.
This is just a really cool card. It's something I'm going to start running this. This is great in so many archetypes. It's Turn the Earth. 1 green mana for an instant. You choose up to 3 cards in graveyards. The owners of them shuffle them into their library. You gain 2 life. And it has flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I really, really like this card.
It's so often, like, again, I just rebuilt another Muldroth deck. I've got a problem with Muldroth, and I love it.
Yeah.
And this is very annoying. There's like graveyard themes are very, very rampant in Magic and stuff. We see so many like aristocrat bring things back decks. Mm-hmm. Just the ability to force them to shuffle back or to be able to recur anything that's like good. Like you can recur your tutors. It's not even like 3 creatures, just any 3 cards. And it has flashback. Like so in its worst of all case scenarios, like if you're against someone who's like milling you and they've taken your win con away, you flashback it back into the deck. Like, this is 3 mana, return 6 cards from your grave to your deck in its worst case form. That's awesome. That's like not offensively. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I really, really like this card. I'm gonna definitely be playing it.
Yeah, this card. I really, really like the utility for it because it can be kind of like you were saying, offensive or defensive.
Well, what a great little piece of interaction, as well as just a good way to bring back things that are important. There's going to be this deck is going to get people mad at you. I'll tell you right now. As someone who plays this way, you're going to fight the table with this.
Yeah.
So being able to bring back those important creatures, even your commander, like you can, if somebody puts it in your grave and you need to shuffle it back in, I've seen it happen. Yeah, I really like it. It's a very cool inclusion.
Yeah. Then we've got Vampiric Tutor. 1 black, search library for a card, shuffle your library, put it on top, and you lose 2 life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good card, especially with how easy it is for you to draw with your actual commander.
Yeah.
And then you've also, ending it out, you've got Summer. You draw a card, and if an opponent's cast a blue or black spell this turn, which is very easy to get the card draw off, spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and black until that turn. It's just an awesome card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good card. So one of the more, I think it's an uncommon. Originally, this printing's rare.
Originally it was. Let's take a look. Yeah, it was an uncommon.
One of the better uncommons they've ever printed.
Yeah, I went through actually my collection and I pulled out like 9 or 10 of these.
Yeah, it's just really good. I was scrolling down there. You got a real low CMC in this deck too.
Yeah,
Average CMC of under 3, so you'll get this up and running fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gross deck. I appreciate it. I'm 100% on board with this. This is hilarious.
Excellent.
Yeah, I gotta start your creature section off here because this is my favorite boy.
I thought so.
Yeah, it's Land Harmonicon, which is what I call it at stores, by the way. I can't stop myself from saying Land Harmonicon when I see it. It's actually called Ancient Green Warden, but you should call it Land Harmonicon because that's what it is. It's an elemental, which is a great tribe. It's 4 double green for 5/7. Awesome stats with reach. Awesome stats on the card. You can play lands from your graveyard. Amazing, and it possibly couldn't get better, but it does. With if a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, it triggers an additional time. I cannot stress how much I like this card.
Yeah, I quite like this one too.
Oh, it's so good. And especially, like, if you've got this out and you have, like, Escape Shift, if you throw 7 lands out and you just go and fetch, like, Field of the Dead and 6 other lands with different names, each enter is going to trigger double zombies. Like, you're going to have...
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to have, like, 14 zombies. Actually, each is going to... Yeah. You're going to have 14 zombies off your format. It's gross. It's a gross card. I love Ancient Green Warden so much.
Yeah, then we've got Azusa Lost But Seeking, 2 and a green for a legendary human monk, 1/2. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem in a deck like this, especially if you can keep, like... Because, again, taking their lands is not your land drop.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just, like, strip mine 3 lands, attack, take the land of your choice.
Exactly.
Oh, it's gross. We have Blood Celebrant, a 1 mana, 1 black mana cleric for 1/1. Has a black and pale life and add 1 mana of any mana to your color pool. So a really good filter through.
Yeah. Then we've got Braids Arisen Nightmares. This is the new Braids, 1 double black for a 3/3 legendary nightmare. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. Each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life, and you draw a card.
It's a great way to throw lands away and force them to do it. Like, so an end step 3 draw, like if they're not going to throw a land away, the 3 draw, this is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's how I would use it, at least. Yeah, the new Braids, I really, really like it.
Yeah, I quite like that one.
You've got Coercive Recruiter, a 4/3 Orc Pirate for 4 and a red. When it or another pirate enters under your control, you gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. Until end of turn, it gains haste and becomes a pirate in addition to its other types. I like it.
Yeah. This will make a lot more sense the further down the creature section we get.
All right, fair.
Next up, we've got Combat Celebrant. 2 and a red. If Combat Celebrant hasn't been exerted this turn, you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, untap all of the creatures you control, and after this phase, there is an additional combat phase.
Yeah, who doesn't like extra combat?
Yeah. It's a 4/1 too.
I already see something very missing from this deck. Ooh, it's
What's
missing.
That?
It's Morog.
Yeah.
You every time, well, because if you think about it, or no, Morog only triggers if you play the land in your main phase. I'm remembering Morog now. Because then I was going to say, you'd basically be able to take infinite combats if Morog functioned the other way. Because you get an extra combat, you would attack again, get a strip mine, bring it back, attack again.
Yeah, Morog is, if it's your main phase, just
yeah, that's what I mean. I remembered just now. So you need the main phase, which is, all right, fair enough. Okay, then it's not as missing.
Yeah, do you want to take this next one?
Yeah, Deathrite Shaman. It's a hybrid black and green, so either or. It's an Elf Shaman 1/2. You can tap, exile target land from a graveyard, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Great ability, especially if you're wrecking people's lands hilariously. Then it has a black and a tap, exile target instant or sorcery from a graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life. Nice way to drain the table and throw away their flashback things, like if they've got important things. And then a green and tap, exile target creature from a graveyard. You gain 2 life, which is, again, a very offensive ability in Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of decks that really rely on a creature coming back.
Yep. I think this is actually, in my opinion, one of the best 1-drops in Magic.
It's awesome. It's you have, if you just even are doing your basics alone, you've got a 2/3 chance that you have the colors in your opening hand. it's solid. You got a 1/2
exactly.
blocker early.
Next up, we've got Dockside Extortionist, 1 and a red for a 1/2 Goblin Pirate. When it enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I really like this one. One of my favorite little ones to come out of the Baldur's Gate. It's Aranis Gloomstalker, 2 and a green for a 3/3 Halfling Ranger with Death Touch. It has choose a background, but that's not going to matter in this deck. But when Aranis Gloomstalker attacks, return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield. So again, it's doing exactly what you're wanting to do with Windgrace. It's just baby Windgrace.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
With Death Touch.
And next up, we've got Golgari Brownscale. 1 double green for a 2/3 lizard. When it's put into your hand from your graveyard, you gain 2 life, and it's got Dredge 2.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Get your cards into the grave. That's a very cool card. I really like that.
Yeah, I quite like this one.
Yeah. You got a lot of cool dredge cards in here, like Golgari Grave Troll is the next one. 4 and a green for a Troll Skeleton 0/0. It enters with a 1/1 counter on it for each creature in your graveyard, so it can come in pretty big. Pay 1, remove a 1/1 counter from it, regenerate it. Again, a very big problem. And then it has Dredge 6. That's pretty rough to fill your grave, yeah.
Yeah. Then we've got another dredge card, Graveshell Scarab. 2 black double green for a 4/4 insect. You can pay 1, sacrifice it, and draw a card, and it's got Dredge for 1.
Turns it into such a great throwaway blocker.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll attack, I'll block, sack it, draw a card, and bring it right back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very cool. This next one is not as cool, but it's pretty good. Keldon Firebombers. It's 3 red for a soldier, a tribe I love, and it's a 3/3. When it comes into play, each player sacks all lands he or she controls except for 3. That's brutal. That can really, really stall the game out for a lot of people, especially if you're in like a meta where one person is really outramping the other.
Yep.
Like I kept my hand because I had some cultivates and stuff like that, and then you just whack me with this Keldon Firebombers.
See, the way I see it, it's making it pretty even. Yep. Everybody's got 3 lands now, you know?
Exactly. You're just
the fact that I can play them from the graveyard is totally inconsequential.
I can't see you using the fact that you're just trying to level the playing field going over well with the playgroup, but I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'll keep trying.
Yeah, we've got Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker as well. I want to take that one because I know you want to talk about it too. It's 2 triple red. It's a Goblin Shaman with haste. You put a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control onto the battlefield. That token has haste, sack at the beginning of the next end step. So are you saying with your Coercive Recruiter, you just make infinite of them?
Yep. Kiki-Jiki, Dockside, and Coercive Recruiter.
Yeah.
We'll make infinite treasure tokens, infinite hasty Docksides.
Yeah, well, because you can make infinite Coercive Recruits with haste as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiki-Jiki has haste itself. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, because it gives you the untap. So.
Yeah. Then we've got...
Oh, you can also... Yeah, Infinite Combat Celebrants.
Yep.
That's cool. I like it.
Then we've got Llanowar Elves. 1 green for a 1/1 Elf Druid. Tap to add green to your mana.
Yeah. I refuse to even talk about the next one. Llanowar Elves is so much less exciting after Kiki-Jiki, though. That's funny. You take the next one. I can't blaspheme like this. I hate this card.
Oh, I love this card. It's Opposition Agent, 2 and a black for 3/2 human rogue with flash. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as or mana of any color to cast.
It's flat out probably my least favorite card in all of Magic. I hate this card.
Even more than Cyclonic Rift?
Even more, maybe not as much Cyclonic Rift, but pretty. My playgroup only hits this when I tutor for lands. They're monsters. You know how frustrating it is to have this, like, I'm trying to Arid Mesa to go get, like, something, and they flash this out and stop my tutor that I paid a life for? They're animals.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what this is trying to do.
Oh, they're animals. Animals, every one of them. You've got Ramming Up Excavator, which is just a great card, especially the way you're trying to do everything. It's 2 and a green for a 2/3 and Naga Cleric, and you can play lands from your graveyard. That's a problem. There's no other way to put it. That's just a problem in your deck.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Then we got Secure Tribe Scout. 1 green for a 1/1 Snake Shaman Scout. Tap it to put a land card from your hand into play.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
You also have Sylvan Safekeeper, another great protection card in this deck. 1 green mana for a 1/1 human wizard. You sack a land, target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn. It can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Yeah.
Again, not something that actually matters to you.
Well, then we've got another way for Dockside to go infinite. Temur Sabertooth, 2 double green for a 4/3 cat. You can pay 1 and a green. You may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, Temur Sabertooth gains indestructible until end of turn.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A nice bounce with Dockside. I don't really see that one very often.
No, but yeah, if you can make 3 or more treasures,
then yeah, you can just as 3 or more treasures, and they don't have like something to counter. But
yeah, exactly.
That's pretty good, and you don't need haste for either of them.
Nope.
That's pretty good. Literally, if there's 3 enchantments out and you have 6 mana that you don't get interrupted with, you're good to just go infinite.
Yeah, if you play like Veil of Summer before you do this, then
yeah, that's very good. And then the other thing too is that as long as you've got lands in hand, you can basically you can just constantly Windgrace ability.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. I like that. I like that inclusion a lot. Games have to end. Sometimes an infinite's nice because you don't have to use an infinite, but you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've got 2 sides of Turgid as well. I'll take both. And Turgid's a monster card. They never should have printed this. I'm amazed it's down at $4.99. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Turgid is 3 double black for legendary creature god. It's a 4/5. It has menace. I don't think I've ever seen anyone swing with it. Whenever an opponent sacks a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you can put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's so rough. It's just a very rough card. And then Turgid also has actually a much more playable side in this one because you have the ability to go infinite. You tap, target player loses 3 life unless they sack a non-land permanent or discard a card, which they're going to run out of. And then for 4, you untap Turgid's Lantern. So you have a mana sink for your infinite there. I like that a lot.
It's basically just a permanent Torment of Hellfire.
Yeah.
If you have got infinite mana and you just untap it.
That's really cool. I've never actually looked at that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only see Turgid come down as Turgid, but I had forgotten that Turgid's Lantern does have an infinite mana sink on the back.
Yeah.
Man, they shouldn't have printed that card. Turgid's such a problem. But they banned Golos.
That's true. Yeah.
Rest in peace, my boy.
They banned Golos, but this is allowed to walk around.
Yeah, I have a Turgid deck. I've got a Turgid commander deck, and it's about as fun as you think it would be.
Yeah.
I
figured as much.
Yeah, whatever level of fun you think Turgid might be, that's the exact level of fun it is.
Next up we've got an absolute monster.
Yeah, literally.
In this deck. You probably see it coming a mile away with some of the cards we've already talked about, but it's the Gitrog monster. 3 black and a green for a 6/6 legendary creature frog horror with death touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gitrog monster unless you sacrifice a land. You may play an additional land on each of your turn, and whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not going to explain how it works with Dakmor salvage and all that. Just Google it.
Yeah, the Dakmor combos. No problem.
I do not have half an hour to say or to talk about that.
Yeah, if you have a discard outlet, Dakmor's a real problem. But no, I really, really like the Gitrog is a cool inclusion. Even if you're not infinite comboing with it, it's going to just really work off, right? Because let's take away all of the other cards in your deck, everything else, and let's only look at your commander's ability, right? That turns every one of them. Windgrace becomes indestructible. Draw a card. You gain 3 life. Draw a card. Draw a card. You draw a card. Like it's such a good. It's a really, really good card in this deck. Like it synergizes so well with the commander, and so does the next one. Mm-hmm. Oh man, the next one is a cool card. It's Titania, Protector of Argoth, 3 double green for a 5/3 elemental. When Titania, Protector of Argoth enters, return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield. Very relevant to us.
Mm-hmm.
That ability is going to go great. Whenever a land you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Very relevant. Very, very problematic, especially if you blow up all lands when you have 13 lands out.
Yep.
Now everyone's angry at you, but you also have like 50 power on the board.
Yep.
I love it.
Next up, we've got Turn Timber Sower, 2 and a green for a 3/3 Elf Druid. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 0/1 green plant creature token, and you can pay green, sacrifice 3 creatures, return target land card from your graveyard to your hand.
It was great.
Yeah.
Turn Timber Sower is just, again, baby Titania.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, another very, very cool card. That's, I play a lot of land-based decks, and I've got to say, I really like the direction you went with this so far. Like, it's been very cool.
Thank you.
The next one's also very telling of your playstyle. You've got a Vexing Shusher in here. It's hybrid Gruul. So either 2 red or a red and a green or 2 green or whatever way you want to pay it. It is a Goblin Shaman 2/2. It cannot be countered, and then it has the ability to, for 1 red, 1 green, target spell can't be countered. And that's a problem, because if you're mana sinking like 60 into a Torment of Hailfire, somebody can just easily be like, I will not allow that. And Vexing Shusher really gets around. I think this is, I'll let you finish this last one, then I'll go.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the final card in this deck is World Shaper, 3 and a green for 3/3 Merfolk Shaman. Whenever World Shaper attacks, you may mill 3 cards. When World Shaper dies, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Yeah, I've got to say that you really have all of problems answered in this deck. Like, I love World Shaper bringing things back like that. Like, you've got so much recursion for what you're doing, and it doesn't seem clunky to be slotted into the deck. A lot of times, like when you're doing something like this, it is clunky. It takes away from the deck itself to add that recursion, but you need it a lot of the time, right? You need, in a graveyard deck, you need a constant way to get your creatures out of the graveyard. Otherwise, they're not doing anything in the graveyard.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, this doesn't seem clunky in any way. It seems like it just synergizes so well with the commander. I'm actually very impressed with this deck. I really, really like this one.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, this is a rough deck. Like, you're not going to make friends. Like, don't build this and be like, hi, new LGS. I'd love to show you my deck.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one you need to talk about with your playgroup before you play it, because you won't make any friends with it.
I personally believe that land destruction is a viable strategy in Magic.
Mm-hmm. They printed the cards. Why not play with them?
It's fun. It does make people play a different way. But like I said, you've got lots of cool answers, lots of cool ways for games to end. Even just the Decree of Annihilation, being able to get rid of it if you have to, if in a worst case. And I know that nobody ever wants to think a worst case. I'm going to have to Decree of Annihilation my friend's table. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you're going to have to exile the board and everyone's going to have to start from 0 because one person's been so out of check all game.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I'm a big fan of how this deck is put together. I wouldn't be upset losing to this. I would lose a lot of my lands to it for sure. I play a lot of cool lands in a lot of decks.
Yeah.
No, this is a very, very well built deck. Great job on this one, I would say.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Obviously, not for us to pat ourselves on the back, but I'm definitely very impressed with this one.
I'm looking forward to getting this one
all papered up.
Yeah, all papered up and getting it out there.
Yeah, no, it's I think this is really cool. I'm building a Windgrace deck as well right now. It's not as bad as this, but in some ways it's significantly worse. Because it's like right now the deck list is looking like 42 lands, and a lot of those lands are blow people's lands up lands.
Seems about right.
Yeah, I'm a different kind of monster.
I was actually thinking about this recently. Before I started here, I had maybe one land-based deck, and that was the Precon from Zendikar Rising.
Yeah.
This is my 3rd that I've built since being on there, and I'm building Hazazon, which is another land-based.
That's a cool one.
I love Hazazon.
Yeah, that's wicked. I like it. It's fun to see how these things change. We like I said at the start of the episode, we've got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be doing. So you're going to see a lot of these decks get played pretty soon. I talk a lot about my own meta, but a lot of people don't see it. And then even when we did stream games previously, you can only see me interact with like other random community members a little bit, and I have to try to be nice to them. But I don't have to try to be nice to my friends. They come back every week anyways. So like some of those games, like we're going to get some of like my actual like very cutthroat meta out.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be fun because this deck sits right at home with how a lot of people I play with play.
Yeah, once again, thinking about it, I think Derevi is going to make a couple of appearances.
Yeah.
Knowing how your meta works.
Oh, yeah. This is a very, very cool deck, though. Like I said, I think it's really fun. I think Soul of Windgrace is a really, really cool card, and I think that they did really good justice to the character. It's one of the ones that I'm happier to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that I think really Dominaria did a lot of things right, in my opinion.
Definitely. I think that, well, credit where it's due. We give Wizards a hard time for a lot of their shortcomings, but with Dominaria, they did a very, very good job.
Yeah, I really liked what happened. I saw the Command Zone put out a chart the other day, and there has
I saw that.
Yeah, there's almost been more, like, we're nearly at the point where there's going to be more legendary creatures printed this year than there is days in this year.
Yeah. I think the chart was 260 legendary creatures in 259 days.
Yeah, we're pretty close. It's looking pretty rough, but I do like it. And I've been a little negative on the Magic stuff lately with some of the things, but I do really think it is the best time to get into Magic is right now. Like the power creep is a little real, but that is also allowing a lot of people who aren't as invested long term in the game to actually sit at the table and compete and stuff, right? They've got access to these new cards, and like obviously like none of the new cards are going to compare to like my Lionized Diamond combo things. Like Wizards isn't going to do that stuff again, not for a long time if they do.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
But that being said, they're making a lot of really, really cool cards, a lot of really, really cool ways to make combos, play the game. And there's definitely no shortage of new commanders for whatever your playstyle is, like whatever you like. I really don't think there's a wrong way to play Magic unless you're playing Cyclonic Rift. But yeah, like it's I hate that card. But like the Soul of Windgrace, it brings an archetype to light that I didn't know I wanted, but I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I just really love this commander. This is probably my favorite one that's been printed this year.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've built 2 decks with this one. I'm working on a third as well.
Yeah,
and it's just so much fun.
Right?
Like I think I mentioned to you that my fiance challenged me to build kind of the same style as this deck, Land Destruction, but for under, I think it was $100.
Nice.
And it still works very, very well, but it's very, very different too, which I really like that it feels, even though you're in the same kind of archetype, you can build it so many different paths.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely like this one. I'm gonna wrap it up there, but like I said, I'm very excited for the things that we got coming, and this deck will definitely be making an appearance.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode. If you want to check any of our stuff out, it's going to be at into99.com. We're going to have some new streams coming up soon. I've been saying this for a while, but it's taken some time to get these pieces together with me being busy. Thank you so much. Check out Abyss Proxy Shop if there's cards on the list that are a little out of your price range, but you still want to give it a try. Definitely get out, support your game stores, and buy the rest of the cards if you can. Have fun destroying your friends' lands. I think that's what needs to happen at the end of this. Like, show them what's up.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you can leave us a rating, 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, it does really help us out. If you don't think we deserved a 5-star, then, you're wrong. No, but definitely leave us whatever you think. I really appreciate everyone spending their time with us listening, and thanks so much for being here week after week. Have a great day, guys.
See ya.